What is up, everybody? JR Juggernaut 1 here, and today I'm bringing you my Banlist prediction video. But this is sort of my Banlist. I'm gonna call this my Banlist prediction slash hopes vid, because I don't honestly expect everything on here to happen, but I do want to make it clear what I think should happen. And as you can tell from the list, there's a lot I want to happen, and you could also tell there's some things I probably don't actually expect to happen. But let's go through this list anyway. I'm going to go briefly talking about why I think each card should get hit in this certain way. Let's start with the banned cards. Now, I'll get this right out of the way. I have 7 cards I think should be banned, but I don't expect even half of them to get banned. These are the cards I just think that deserve to be banned the most. The 7 cards that are just stupid, for lack of a better word. BLS is arguably the best card of the current format. Yeah, I know Tour Guide could theoretically be considered the best card, but BLS just, well, it does more. It's able to beat your opponent down senseless and OTK them relatively quickly, especially if you have Honest or Armory Arm along with it. And its ability to remove from the field is just dumb. I think the bigger problem is the fact it can attack twice, but regardless, it's just broken. However, I sadly don't expect this card to get banned simply for the fact that the OCG just reprinted it. But when I say I don't expect, I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it around, but I still think they should get rid of it, and I hope Konami will be cognizant of that. Reborn and Trap Dusher are probably 2 of the cards that kind of need to be banned because they're unbound staples. Reborn needs to be banned because the ability to revive your opponent's monsters is just stupid. Not to mention it's faster than cards like Call the Haunted, and it has less weaknesses. Even if Call is chainable, I still see Reborn as the more broken card, and everyone else will tell you the same thing. Call could theoretically have been more broken, but now that True Nade is gone, there's just no way to argue it. Reborn needs to go. Plus, if Call is at 2, Reborn shouldn't be around. Trap Dash Shoot is just a win condition. There are a lot of decks that will play this card as their only trap for a reason, because this card wins games when you draw it. Not much more to say about it. In my opinion, every deck should have been playing this card, but that's just me, I suppose. Next, we have Sangan. Oh yeah, and just no one deserves to win simply for opening Trap Dust Shoot first turn and their opponent can't do anything about it. Like, yeah. But, alright, moving on to Sangan. Sangan needs to be banned because I think Konami realizes what the mistake they made, and I hope Konami sees how broken Tour Guide is, and simply for that reason, they'll try to either hit it or hit Sangan at the very least, knowing they'll be hurting the card in the process. I obviously think that Tour Guide should get hit, as you can see it in this picture. But personally, I'm not 100% sure if I would feel. If I would agree Sangan should get banned if they were to put Tour Guide to 1 at some point. So, for now, I'm just going to say ban Sangan, just better be safe than sorry. Then Future Fusion, broken card, sets up too many big plays. It's just not fair, and it's only going to continue to get more frustrating for us. I know the Dragon structure deck was just released, but still, that shouldn't really change much. Get rid of it. Avarice, while not always going to be doing that much for you, it is probably the card that's most consistently going to be a +1 for you. Avarice lets you recycle monsters, and then you draw 2 cards. That's really good. Avarice used to be alright being at 2, because when you could play two copies of it, because people playing it at 2 meant that it was fairly easy to use, but it also meant that you had to draw at least a few monsters in order. You had to draw a few cards in order to for it to be likely that you would be able to play this card successfully. you know, it's just a good, very good +1, and it does too much. I think it needs to get banned now that we have now that it's so easy to fill up the grave with 5 monsters. And last but not least, Mind Control. Mind Control, what more is there to say? It's been broken for a really long time, but it's only more broken with the release of Xyz monsters. I only see this card doing more and more ridiculous things. Give it the banhammer. It's just, yeah, really good. Moving on to the cards that should be limited. Now, obviously the two most broken decks in the TCG right now are Inzectors and Windups. I'm not worried about Inzectors being hit. They need to hit Hornet, they need to hit Dragonfly and or Hornet. I say hit Dragonfly first because then they stop all the combo bullshit. But hitting Hornet would definitely hurt the deck because it would make the deck a lot less consistent. But honestly, I don't think it's a huge deal because really all they would do is just play more cards that allow it to be sent to grave, like Armageddon Knight and so forth. But I digress. But since Inzectors are doing well in the OCG, I know they'll be hit. Windup, since they haven't made too much of an impact in the OCG, I'm actually worried that they're not going to hit it. I feel like they have to, though, because they will see how broken the deck is in the TCG, and they have to do something about it. I don't feel like they can just legitimately ignore it, knowing how broken it is now. I mean, it's speculation, but I've yet to see a situation where something like this has happened, where a stupid broken deck, like that's just out of this world broken, just like, continued to, just remain untouched, I mean, even Plants, they still had Torghast and Tengu, but they still took a hit. I kind of just see the same thing happening here with Windups. But with Windups, there's 3 cards. The card that needs to get hit the most, I think, is Zen Mighty, simply for the fact that the ability to take any Windup monster from your deck is probably the most broken part of it, because it just gives you a lot of versatility. But Rad creates, instant rank 3 Xyz monsters. That's stupid too. So I guess I would say probably you'd want to hit all of them, but you be the judge. Hit both of them. And then Factory, because Factory is Whirlwind on steroids. I mean, seriously. Factory was a great idea for Windups, but when the TCG exclusives made Windups really good, it was just... Oh no, I should say with the release of Rabbit, it was stupid, because Rabbit, basically, if you have the right cards, you can essentially use its effect during your turn and your opponent's turn. Brokenness. And next we go on to Hyperion, and Master Hyperion and Grapha going to 1. Now, both of these decks I kind of, have my issues with. Agents I do expect to get hit more likely than Dark World, because they made more of an impact in the OCG, but I feel like some of the impact that Dark Worlds have had will ultimately lead to Konami deciding to hit something in the deck. Something should get hit in all seriousness. With Agents, I think with Agents and Dark World, though, regardless of the deck, I think both Grapha and Hyperion are worthy of being banned. They're both annoying boss monsters, and they're just really annoying power cards in the game, and part of the reason I think the format sucks. Hyperion, and in particular, having 3 Dark Arms in your deck, like in addition to what else you're playing, this card was the major reason I decided to pick up Agents. It's just a really good card, and there's not much else you could really say about it. Grapha, it could just keep reviving itself, which is a real pain in the ass. The only silver lining to these cards is that Hyperion requires that you draw your Agents first in order to make it work, whereas Grapha requires you to draw a discard outlet. And that's why, but while with Agents, I don't think it would do as much to hit the other cards and the other Agents in the deck. I think it would just make more sense to hit Hyperion itself, just making the Agents less potent. With Dark World, if you hit Gate, you definitely do a lot to the deck as well. I feel like both cards are worthy of a limit, but hey, it's that's just my opinion. Date's just a permanent discard outlet for Dark Worlds. I don't think Dark Worlds would be good if they didn't have this card, but people can try to prove me wrong. The last two cards. First we have Tour Guide. Tour Guide's obvious. I don't expect this to get hit, just like with well, even less so than BLS. But hey, man can dream, can he? And then Royal Tribute. I don't expect this card to get hit at all. I just want to make it clear this card needs to get banned this card needs to go to 1 and or get banned. Because I hate Gravekeepers and I hate this card. Next, the semi-limited cards. First we have Eat Telly. Now that Mind Master's gone and Psychics have seemed to work better as a control-based deck, I honestly think it's a much better idea to just... I honestly think it's not a bad idea to put this card to 2. I don't think it would do a ton for the deck anyway. Rekindling. Rekindling can arguably go to 1, but personally I'm just going to go ahead and say it should go to 2, because I feel like it's the same thing with Miracle Fusion. Yeah, they're both good cards, but they're both very good cards, but you kill the entire deck if you put the card to 1, essentially. I mean, I guess with Heroes they could live with 1 Miracle, but I just don't see a reason to put it to 1. I really don't. Rekindling, I guess you could argue it, but I say keep the deck somewhat alive instead of just, them having only 1 Rekindling, and that's just the only card they can really take advantage of. So yeah, put it to 2. They most likely will hit it just because levels are good. Tengu, put it to 2 for the love of God, please. Magic Cylinder, I don't see a reason to keep this at 2 as with Magical Stone of Excavation, whatever you want to call it. And then finally D-Draw. I don't know if this is actually a good idea, but I just would like to see D-Draw 3. I just can't think of a reason to actually keep it at 2, even though I'm concerned about bringing it back to 3. Though, to be fair, the real problem with keeping it at 3 last time was the potency of Ab-Zero decks, and the fact that those decks aren't as effective as they used to be probably shows that this card is actually ready this time around to come back to 3. At least I think so. We shall see how true that statement is in the future. Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry I had kind of to rush through it, but as you can see, this video is getting to be pretty long. We should get the actual ban list within the next week or so, probably the next few days, as I said. Let's hope that it helps to prepare the coming format. I will probably have a vid up after this dealing with my final thoughts with Watch This Atlanta. Just, the prelude series to it. And yeah, peace out, everybody.